Hey there, it's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 23. Hopefully, Michael Jordan lets us use the number. I'm Eric, your host, and I'm joined as always by Kayla.
Hello.
And today we have a special guest, our second ever guest on the podcast, coming from the Pacific Northwest. We have Patrick Peña. How's it going, man?
Doing good. Great to be here. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. We had our first guest on our last episode, our mutual friend Katie, and you've got a lot to live up to, big shoes to fill. So
Yep, I believe it.
Yeah, come correct, So Patrick, if you don't know what he's all about, he is a writer, director, producer, actor, right? Little bit of
all
everything.
trades.
Yeah. Modern Renaissance man. Something like that. Is that how you introduce yourself, Patrick? Like when you go up to people, you're like, I'm a modern Renaissance man.
Yes, jack of all trades. No, I try. Yes, I try. I only think that in my head. I try not to say that.
Well, what kind of titles do you give yourself? I feel like I don't exactly even know. There's so much little bits in each one.
Yeah, filmmaker is what I like. Storyteller is a term that I do like. However, I do think that content creators have taken that term and I don't want to say bastardize it, but they bastardize it. And but ultimately, we're all storytellers, right? And it is a general term that I think applies to all art, right? Any kind of expression and stuff. So I do like the term storyteller because it's kind of a blanket term to cover everything. But I think at the end of the day, I'd like to be a filmmaker.
Nice. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about your work in that realm. Quite a bit of it, I'd say, more than me. Definitely more than me. So, what we always start these pods with is we like to go around the room and kind of see what everyone's been up to, what we've been playing, what we've been watching. Might as well start us off, Patrick. What have you been up to?
On Thursday, I actually did a voice recording for a radio play that my friend is doing. He wrote a 6-episode miniseries that he's, trying to get funding for. So for the pilot episode, he got some people together to record it as a radio drama just to kind of help with the selling purposes. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And in doing that, I was working on, I did my own voice recording since I was already set up, working on a cartoon that I've been drawing lately. So I'm still kind of in the early stages of that, putting it together, but I've put together some early scenes from it. So I'm kind of working out the feel before I kind of write a pilot, but that should be coming up pretty soon. Otherwise, today, after we shoot, after we record, I'm going to be shooting scenes for the video game I'm working on, Pepperoni Nightmares. So that's kind of actually the first official shoot for the game, which will be over the next couple weeks, couple months. Get that going.
Yeah, cheers to that. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
That's
Groundbreaking
amazing.
day.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a long day for you.
Yeah. And probably try to squeeze in maybe No Man Land or Sound of Metal before the Oscars tomorrow. Even though I work, so I won't be able to watch the Oscars. But
Ah,
my wife
you
wants to squeeze a
gonna
couple in.
you think you're gonna stream it later or something? You gonna record it?
Well, I imagine that I will be getting live text updates from Michelle as it happens. So that'll be my Oscar night essentially. I'll be at work, and then, so it's kind of been the last couple of years. I always have to work. It's always right around the time of WrestleMania, so it's like, well, I can't do how many Sundays can I take off as a nerd of all various nerddoms? I can't take every
Entertainment.
I can't take every fucking holiday off. So
Yeah, work all the federal holidays, take off all
Oh
of
yeah,
the
I'll
weird
work.
holidays.
I'll work Super Bowl. I don't give a fuck, but
Hey, WrestleMania comes once a year,
Yeah.
Sometimes this year, multiple days though, right?
It was 2 days. Yeah, I didn't even watch WWE all year because I've actually kind of switched over to AEW just because it's only one show, so it's easier to watch and get more fun for me. But I'm like, well, it's Mania. I mean, watching it was pretty entertaining. Well, the first night was pretty entertaining. The second night was not as good, but
Yeah. That's
so
what I've
far.
heard. Yeah,
Mhm.
kind of. I think that's the general consensus.
Yeah, that's definitely how it felt.
Nice, nice. So
Mhm.
yeah, we just did our Oscar prediction show actually with Katie. So we powered through all the Oscar Best Pictures nominees, and it's a weird year for movies. It's fun.
It
I
is.
like that Michelle's gonna be live live tweeting you or whatever.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
that's
absolutely.
kind of fun because yeah, we'll be there watching it live definitely. It was a fun year for movies. I don't know if it was a good year for movies, but it was a fun year. So
Yeah, what's interesting with the Oscars, not to derail this, but, you notice the abundance of women and minorities, people of color who are nominated in all different categories, and the kind of the darker underside of that is because they held back all the white movies during this, because they wanted those to be in theaters and make the money, whereas the minority and female-driven movies, which is gonna be it was gonna be a huge year for females in film, and it still is, um, but instead of waiting for those theatrical releases, they just dumped those on streaming. Minari,
Yeah.
Mom, yeah, all the black movies as well. But still, hey,
Yeah.
go ahead, yeah.
The like lack of amount has really given them opportunities to shine.
Yes, absolutely. So this is yeah, in the end, it ends up being a good thing, whereas the studios were like, we don't care about these in a sense, right? But then, well, those are the things that get to be showcased. Like, do you think that Promising Young Woman, which is a great movie, do you think it would have been recognized, right? But it is, and like what and it's such a strong debut film. It's got such an assured tone, and those kind of movies don't generally um, kind of get recognized. So without kind of these bigger uh, normal Oscar movies. Yeah, exactly. Some of these movies got a chance to shine, like Stephen Yen, right? What is the first Asian American to be nominated for an Oscar? It's
Yeah,
two of them. First
Riz
Muslim,
Ahmed,
Riz Ahmed as well. Exactly. Yeah. So you have,
and
it's
he was
awesome.
great. Oh,
Yeah, I haven't watched Sound of Metal. We might watch that today or very soon. But Riz Ahmed is a fantastic actor, so I'm looking forward to
yeah,
that.
yeah,
yeah, I was talking up on our last episode, the night of. I'm a big fan of that limited series for HBO that he was the star of. I think that was fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Michelle really loved it. I really only, I mean, I was first introduced to him. I think and a lot of people were from Nightcrawler, which he was very huge standout role, especially opposite, what many people think is one of the better actors of our generation in Gyllenhaal. And yeah, he's a fantastic actor. I'm glad that he's getting the recognition he deserves.
In our first episode ever, we all did top five lists. All the cast members, all seven of us, we did top five movies, video games, and TV shows. So we put Katie on the spot in our last episode, and you know what? You're a guest. We're putting you on the spot. So whatever order, however, if you want them ranked, bottom to top, top to bottom, doesn't matter. But if you could give us your top five video games, movies, TV shows.
Absolutely. When I first told you that I'd be willing to be a guest, and you told me that you'd want to have me on, I saw that you guys all did your top five. So at that time, I made my list just in
uh,
case it was going to be a thing that came up. So,
nice
Oh, what a
uh-huh.
dude, man.
Well, it's just
inspiration.
I like to be prepared. So, and I hate to be a weird here. So, TV shows and video games. I am such a movie guy that I don't watch as wide a variety as TV shows as most people, and I don't play a whole lot of video games. So my choices might be strange. So we'll
A
start with
little
TV shows.
flavor for you.
Yeah, so TV shows. Let's keep. I mostly watch comedies generally because they're easier. I don't like to dedicate time to a drama because they always end up disappointing. And then it's like, well, I got to keep watching because I've already watched this for years, and then you're never happy. And it's like, it's happened to me a couple times. I'm like, I
Some
can't watch.
bad blood, I sense.
Oh, yeah, someone's like, no, there's no point. It's a way. It's heartbreaking to watch TV shows. They're aimless. Anyway, so and now again, last 10 years has changed. So Seinfeld, Black Mirror,
Mm.
Cowboy Bebop, The Simpsons, but seasons 3 through 8, um, and Silicon Valley.
Oh man, I got.
Yeah.
Everyone's been telling me check out Silicon Valley.
Oh,
I gotta do that.
geez, man, it's smart, it's funny. If you like Mike Judge stuff, I mean, it's like top of the line Mike Judge for sure. Very, very funny. Video games. So if you recall, I am a big Tetris fan. So Tetris is, of course, if you want to rank anything, Tetris will say Tetris is my favorite game of all time. But which version of Tetris? Would it be the Game Boy Tetris, which is more or less the original and probably the most played of all Tetris? No, I think it has to be Tetris Effect for PlayStation 4.
Mm.
I think it's my favorite. Kind of very, very beautiful. It's like Tetris as art. So it's like one of my favorite things, pretty much ever. Super Mario World. I'm very much a Nintendo guy, a Mario guy, an old school sort of guy. So, and I'll say Super Mario World is probably my favorite of all the Mario games. Fire Pro Wrestling, which is a Japanese wrestling video game series. There's been about 30 of them, and I think maybe only 4 or 5 have been ported for US release. And I will say that we'll just go with the most recent one, which is Fire Pro Wrestling World, which is also on PS4. Mario Kart, we go with Double Dash as my favorite Mario Kart, so that's going to be right there. And to round out my top 5 is the classic River City Ransom for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which is a very early beat 'em up, RPG beat 'em up, and it's like one of my favorites. Also, a big influence on the Scott Pilgrim series. So when I first started reading the Scott Pilgrim books, I was like, wait a minute, these made like for me? 'Cause what the fuck? So there's video games.
That's coming back to theaters, Pilgrim, for a little
I
while.
know it was supposed to come out last year in Dolby Atmos for the 10-year anniversary, and you know what happened there. So that was disappointing. But yes, so yeah, I mean,
What happened?
Oh yeah, was this bullshit? Yeah, they took away our rights. That's where I live.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not much different.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, I
what
know. Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. Oh, yeah. So yeah, Dolby Atmos though. So the movie is very much a very sound-driven movie. So to have like the best sound system in available, that should be pretty badass.
Yeah.
Top 5 movies. Movies are obviously more my forte than anything. So these change periodically. When I wrote
Yeah.
this, and I would still say at the moment, I think this is where we are. But I kind of like to keep certain filmmakers at the top, and sometimes it's like a couple different of their movies will float in and out, like be interchangeable. But in this case, we'll pick one for each of a couple of those filmmakers. So Quentin Tarantino, obviously because of my age, is a big influence. And my favorite Tarantino movie, most of the time, pretty much all the time now, is Jackie Brown. Just because it's unique among his movies. It's the only movie that's an adaptation that he's done. It's from a Elmore Leonard novel. So the characters are a little bit different. They have a little more richness than his other characters, and it's just kind of a much more thoughtful and mature movie than he normally does. It's kind of unique in his au revoir, as it were. So that's always my favorite. It kind of gets better every time I watch it. And then Kubrick is another one of my favorite filmmakers, and Doctor Strangelove is my favorite Kubrick film. It's like pretty much the perfect comedy, still hilarious after like 60 years or 55 years or whatever. And it's like the darkest comedy of all time too. And like its style, it's relentless in its speed and in its commentary. So Strangelove, The Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club. I've probably seen it over 100 times. It's a little bit melodramatic, but only in like the absolute best way possible. I think that if it was written as a play, and Tarantino has said this about a movie called Dogtown or whatever, I think that if Breakfast Club was written as a play, it would have been not only a Tony Award-winning play, but it would have been a Pulitzer Prize-winning play. So I think that it's a perfect exploration of like being a teenager. So I think it's underrated. I don't think it's just like, oh, it's a good teen movie. I think Breakfast Club is brilliant. So Coen Brothers are some other favorite filmmakers, and my favorite movie a lot of the time from them is No Country for Old Men. Yeah, which is again one of those like it subverts everything that you want or expect from a thriller, which leaves some of the audience unsatisfied, but is also just like unbelievable to watch. And then Chigurh's great, and I mean, it's just everything about it. I could talk about that. We could do a whole couple episodes of a podcast just gushing about fucking No Control, man.
Write that down, Kayla. We're doing it.
Yeah. And then we'll round it out with one of the early influences in Evil Dead 2 by Sam Raimi. Perfect tone of horror and comedy.
Nice. What a list. I remember I remember watching Dr. Strangelove on your recommendation. You might have even borrowed me your copy, I think.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first time I ever checked out a Kubrick, and yeah, that is a cool ass movie. I like that movie
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, good stuff. Good
Right.
list, man. I like
you.
it. We'll be posting that to social media, so
Cool.
yeah, people can have their opinions on it. But
Yeah, check it out, and hey, talk shit if you must, or whatever
Use
you
it as
gotta do.
inspiration.
Yeah, or
yeah,
yes, yeah. Think of the
Check
positive
these
side,
out.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you might dig it, exactly.
nice, cool. So, this is the part where we interview Patrick. We're gonna get to that now. So very broadly, I think we kind of actually touched on this, but you said storyteller, filmmaker. That's kind of the way you see yourself. But you've worked on a lot of different stuff, honestly. I mean, like from the comic book to acting in shorts and things of that nature. Not acting in short pants, but short films, I should say.
Yes.
Although you've
Yeah.
probably acted in shorts too, right?
No, you know what? Nobody's paid me enough. Like you don't get these legs for free. So I have not acted in shorts just yet, but it's probably right around the corner.
So it definitely seems like you've got a lot of like creative friends, that type of thing, get pulled into different projects.
Mhm.
What draws you, I guess, to a project? And do you ever say no, or is it just give me it all?
Yeah, so like the creative friends thing is, yeah, I really that's completely by design. Not only do I would obviously gravitate towards those kind of people just through conversation generally, but those are the people you end up being connected with because you kind of have the same, even if it's not the same medium that you create in. Oftentimes, there's just the same way of thinking, or like it's usually like that passion. Like you have the same kind of drive, even if it's about something different, and you can really like relate in that way. So it's the kind of people I keep around, and I always want to collaborate on anything. So yeah, I'm interested in everything. I ain't got no rhythm, but I want to do music. Like it's just, and I can't draw, but I'm making a cartoon, right? So it doesn't those things like my limitations won't hold me back because I don't necessarily expect to be great at these things or to be famous for them or anything like that. It's just yeah, I like doing everything, and sometimes it's whatever's accessible. So, the comic book. Well, I want to make movies, but there's nobody around to make movies. But I know some artists, so maybe I can convince them to draw. And sometimes you can, and then it's always like that. If somebody else is making a movie, like, oh, I'll help. What can I do? I'm not going to say that I know. Even if I think I have experience in something or whatever, I'm willing. I'll still go be a PA for somebody on a movie. While we're all at the same level, right? Like until you're doing it for a living, you're still just trying to make it, and I don't mean like the whole work for exposure thing, which is a big in the art community, especially online amongst the memes and whatnot. Everybody likes to talk about, oh, you can't pay bills, exposures kind of stuff. And it's like, well, you can pick and choose, make decisions about how you want to do things. So yeah, there are projects that I wouldn't work on, but generally for my friends and things like that, no, I'm willing to help out and do whatever. And as far as I'm willing to try any medium. I did painting for a little while there, but that was more of a depression thing, like needing an immediate
Creative
form of
outlet.
expression. Yeah, just like I could do other things, but those aren't working. Those aren't helping. Like maybe they're hurting, right? Because if you have an idea, sometimes it like can fester in your brain if you can't get it out. So yeah, then it was like, okay, now I have images. So it's like, all right, I could just fucking slap these on and like immediately get that satisfaction of knowing that it's gone or whatever it is. So yeah, I like it all, man. I like to just express myself, I guess, at the end of the day. So that's
To
kind of
elaborate a little bit on that. You kinda touched on something we were gonna bring up. When
Mhm.
you have an idea that's not quite moving off the ground, like, how do you deal with that? How do you keep going? How do you find something new?
Yeah, so I struggle with that. Like, if you think about it, like, if
Yeah,
Eric,
us too.
yeah. So Eric, you've known me for shit 25 years, if you want to break it down like that, right? So I've been, drawing, writing stuff like, for forever. But you'd think that, oh man, if you have that drive or whatever, wouldn't you be successful after 25 years or something, right? So if I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker at 14, then why am I not further along? It's like, well, there's a lot of things that'll really stifle you, and mostly mental blocks or disorders or whatever it is. But and that's something you work on. But if I okay, let's go back because I know what the questions is like. Yeah, if you have failed projects and stuff. So let's take one example that Eric, like you remember. So you were going to act in that. I was going to make a short slasher movie, maybe 15 years ago or something, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
We shot a couple scenes from it, like started working on it. I had like some of the effects figured out, these kind of things. It was pretty much mostly cast. Why didn't I finish it? Well, at that time, I I had like a mini DV camcorder and I wanted two system audio, so essentially record the audio on a separate device, then sync it up in post. And well, I don't really have any money, so I'm like, oh, I'm just working with what I got, and like I just don't. I'm not satisfied with the sound of it. I've gotten over that. But at the time, it's like, well, if it's not going to be good enough to show people, then I don't want to do it. And you keep on like, so that was always a big thing for me. Like, well, if it's not going to be what I think it's going to be, then what's the fucking point? Or if I think that at some point it's somewhat it becomes self-defeating. So I don't know if it's like, oh, I don't feel like doing the work, or if it's more whatever the fuck it is, who knows? But yeah, it's these kind of mental blocks. But then lucky thing for me, which is also a hindrance sometimes, is I have a lot of like sometimes a nonstop flood of ideas, and then that becomes dizzying, right? And you can't focus on anything, which becomes another blocking point. Oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. Yeah, you could, but if you put a little focus on something, maybe you'd make something more substantial.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've gotten over that block of, oh, this needs to be like perfection. This needs to be good enough
Yeah.
that I need to show to someone, that type of thing. Because I felt like starting this podcast, getting it off the ground, that was something that we kind of dealt with. I
Yep.
feel that when you said that.
Yep.
So do you feel like, yeah, you've gotten over that you can, you create
100.
for the sake of creating?
Yep. Yeah. If you watch any of my shorts, like the audio is bad. Like that's the thing. Like the production is not there. So am I like embarrassed of it? No, I'm absolutely not embarrassed of those things. But I also don't. I know what they are. I can't present them as like these completely polished works. But I do think at the same time, like, look, especially from where I'm at as a filmmaker, a lot of people in my same shoes would raise a few grand to shoot a short to make sure that it's as polished as possible so you can present it as this finished piece, which is cool. And that's a way to do it. But at the same time, if you have something that's a little more rough around the edges, like, okay, you didn't have a crew, you didn't have a cinematographer, you didn't have the things that the studios provide, that budgets provide. So they can look through those things. If the quality is there within the content, I mean content in the traditional sense, like the literal,
Story.
the innards and guts of things. Yeah, exactly. If people could see through that, and then throw money to bring it in. So like even in a podcast sense, if the conversation is good, if the audio quality isn't top of the line, you could still garner listeners, you could still garner an audience, and people can still get into it. So yeah, I've gotten past that. The big stopping block for me is always still because writing, like I like to write, I like to tell stories though. I never call myself a writer anymore. I used to, but like I don't like to write. Writing is hard. Writing is very hard. Getting the story out of my brain onto the paper in a structured form is the hardest part, and like everything after that is really really fun. Thinking about it is really really fun, and planning it is fun, but the fucking writing part is difficult. So I can't write a story unless I already know that I'm going to be able to see it to completion, and that's not a good thing. I should be able to have stories on the side. I should be able to have scripts unwritten. I mean, I'm not saying I've never written a script I didn't plan on producing, but like not as often as I should. So like Man Bites Man became a thing where it's like if I approach an artist and I don't have a story, say, hey, would you want to work on something, and they want to see a finished script, it's hard for me to get it out. Just as it's like again, like a deficiency in my brain. It's like I can't do it. But if the guy's like, yeah, let's start working on it, then I will fucking just. But at the same time, it'll suffer too because maybe it's not as planned of a piece because I'm kind of writing it on the fly, which is what I do a lot of times, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you said you don't have a ton of like unfinished work, but you do. You have, projects that have maybe, not
Oh,
gone the
yeah.
full rank. Do you feel like that's still a positive, still something you can, of course everything's a learning experience, whatever, but like the do you keep all of your documents, scripts, things like that, maybe footage, anything like that, to use in the future? Is that a thing that you do, or is it just kind of like that's it, I'm done, that's that, and that's it?
Um, a little bit of both. I definitely keep ideas around. That's like, yeah, for sure. So many, like, hey, the cartoon that I said I was drawing is something that I came up with when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I've been kind of, you keep these characters and they're just there, they exist. And you're a couple years later, like, well, the way I thought about it when I was 8 doesn't work anymore, but how do you update them? Like, think about, okay, say the dudes, right? The cartoon superheroes, which were the men originally, right? Which you remember that. So like,
Right.
and then I still have them in my head too. They're the Fight Force Power Squad now. So, and they're not what they were originally, but at the very basic, okay, I could trace it back to what the original idea of the cartoon characters were. So I have a lot of stories like that that kind of evolve. And then there are plenty of stories like, oh, I like this when I was 9, and it's like, okay, well, it's silly, it doesn't work anymore. But there are things that I try to keep anything that I think is a viable idea, and then old footage and things like that. Well, some of my real old tapes, my old like high 8 tapes, I actually just sent them into Kodak to be digitized. I'm not 100% sure what's on there, but there were some things I shot in high school. The Luchador Dave show that I think there's gonna be footage on there of that, which will be really interesting to see. There was one a short I shot in high school, my senior year of high school, like for Miss Lutringer's film class, and I recently re-edited that and put that online as well, just for
Yeah.
fun. Um, yeah, I like revisiting those things. I think that let's just say that one day I was a successful artist, right, and that in somebody's eyes I'd be considered a celebrity. Um, I think that being able to access celebrities as real people. I mean, obviously, that's something people really love with social media and things like that. But when you're an artist too, or you really like the art form, I think being able to go back and see people's influences and see where they came from and just know more about them personally and dig into their brain is something that fans really really like. So it's like, yeah, I don't mind providing that in the event that I am successful. Some people like to hide. Like another thing, like people when you're branding, don't put anything out there unless it's you want that to really represent you. Like, well, I think everything I do represents me. Whether or not it's of high production value is another question.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you
that's
gotta
cool.
grow.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Hopefully, we all grow and change. That's the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. A lot of people don't, but I think
Yeah,
that's something. Yeah, that you
change
could
is
see
hard.
it. Yeah. Yeah. It is. But you have to be able to see that um,
You
progression.
you have mentioned a couple things that are hard in the process. Besides money, like what would you say is the hardest thing? Take finances out of it.
Yeah. Well, for me it's writing. For me it's structure. For me it's getting a finished piece that I'm happy with because if I've thought about the story so much when I'm writing it, it's kind of like doing it again. And then in the writing process, I like to be one and done, which is really not the way the writing process works. They always tell you it comes in the rewrite, so that becomes a stumbling block for me. Like I can't get it out the first time because it's not right, and it's like, well, it doesn't matter. Just get it on the page in a general structure, then you rewrite it. Well, I hate rewriting it because I've already written it. Now I got to watch it and read it again and again and again and again and again. So I'm a big dialogue writer. That ends up being my big strong point, and conversations often come in one take, so I could write those in single take. So writing is a difficult part. Uh, the other hardest part of the process for me at the moment is actually finding people, because film is the ultimate collaborative art. Everything else is usually done solo, or at least can be done solo. And film now can be done solo. Um, it's just something I was trying to avoid. But now
Yeah.
it's fine, fine. Now I have to act in it. Now I have to do this. Now I have to do that. But yeah, finding other people to work with, and that's a problem in Indiana too. I mean, I had friends, and that's always great. I love having friends around who can help, which is fantastic. But you know, at a certain point, you need people who are going to be in that field, who
Right.
a little more skilled in their individual roles. I like to do everything myself, but only until there's somebody who can do those individual things better, and then they go into those roles, and those become that. So um, that's difficult. Is getting the right people around you.
Yeah, so speaking of friends and film and all that, Vixen of Vengeance, you were able to create a film
Yeah,
with, starring a lot of friends,
yeah.
yourself, etc.
Mhm.
Go into that if you could. Like, what was that process? How long did it take? Just yeah, if you could break that down just a little bit for us. I remember seeing the premiere and thinking like,
Yeah, thank you.
man, this is pretty cool. It's pretty damn cool.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was really fun. So the December 2014, or no, January 2015, sorry. Michelle and I went up to Wisconsin. I knew some guys. All right, I'm going to give you it's a little more than you asked for, but 2007, get out of high school. Don't get a job. Don't go to college. Don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I'm like, well, I want to make movies, but what do I just do to sit? I don't know what to do. So I got a computer and do this kind of stuff. And I'm just hanging out online. And I'm kind of a night guy. So I'm staying up to like 8 in the morning, not doing shit. But they're shooting The Dark Knight. And I'm a Batman fan, I gotta say. I was always a really big Batman fan growing up. So I spend most of my nights, like, again, I say nerd a lot, but hey, what it is. I don't think it's a bad word. Um, Hanging on the Batman forums all night, right? So I am a writer who cannot get people to work with me. This is a recurring theme. So I try to get the fan art people to start. I start writing Batman, start lure him in, right? That's where Muhammad came from. Muhammad came. He was a guy who I
Ah.
wrote. Yes, yeah, all this shit. So another guy I met on there, Scott Seagren, who his name was Slevin with the L was a 7. I imagine he was a fan of the movie Lucky Number Slevin. We were all, 17, 18 years old at the time. So long story short, keep talking to Scott. We're friends on MySpace. We're friends on Facebook. He's one of the few that transfers over. Then we get to know each other a little bit more over the years. Oh, he likes to make film too. So we stay friends over the years. And then he says, hey, my buddy Austin is going to be shooting this slasher movie for this guy up in Wisconsin. You're over there, right? I'm like, okay, look it up. Yeah, it's like an 8-hour drive. And I'm like, I could probably fucking go up there and shoot this movie with you guys or whatever. So I'd never met Scott. In fact, this is the first time I've had friends online since I was just, in our generation, it's somewhat normal, although we're old enough to be like, that's still a little bit weird. Like, yeah. So, I'm like, yeah, fuck it. So we go up there and it's like, okay, so we shoot this movie, Dismembering Christmas, which you can find um, online streaming, or you can buy the Blu-ray out there, made by Slasher Studios, written by Kevin Summerfield. And so we go up there and shoot this movie for 13, 14 days or whatever. And there's some good stories there for another time. But I meet, so Scott, it's the first time I meet Scott there. And I meet my friend Sean there, who made Touchtone and who was my wedding photographer and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of an interesting, fun, life-changing experience. But I come out of that movie like, all right, because I didn't know what to expect. It was a Kickstarter movie and all these kind of things. I don't know these fucking people, so I don't know if is it going to be like a somewhat mid-level, or like I don't know what kind of level the production is going to be. But at the end of the day, oh no, it's 14 people or 20 people in a fucking house is trying to make a movie. It's the same as anything else. I'm like, no, I could do this. I could get a bunch of random people together, and I know how to make a fucking movie. So I said, all right, I'm gonna go home and do that. So I already had the script, Maniac Mutant Massacre, which I had tried to make once a couple years prior, and I'm like, okay, this is just sitting here. Let's throw some shit together and let's do a Kickstarter and try to get it made, which didn't work. The thing that with Kevin is he had done a couple of shorts and had a very small following through horror film festivals. So we had enough of a following who would be able to pay to get a short feature made. And I had friends who got me like most of the way there, but it's not quite. If I had a small following, I could have got that financed, but I didn't. But I was so determined to still make a movie. I basically had this idea that was supposed to be the movie I did after Maniac Mutant Massacre, that ideally would have had a little more style, a little more budget, be a little cooler. And I was like, well, I could just ask the people I cast for Maniac Mutant Massacre if they want to do this story idea instead. And most of them did, except for the lead actress. She was like, nah, it's not, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a revenge movie. This is not my style. I'm like, okay, I understand. So I'm like, hey, Michelle, which is of course my wife. And I'm like, if I was just gonna make this movie, would you star in it? And like, doesn't really, she doesn't feel comfortable acting necessarily. And she's like, yeah, I guess if we're, and she's great. I mean, she's really great in it. And
Yeah.
so I don't have a script, but I'm like, I'm making this fucking movie. So I'm just telling everybody, all right, we're just gonna shoot it. And I start the very first scene, which is not the best scene in the movie, but it's our fight scene. And like it's an overnight shoot between me and her, which we figured out the fight that the day before. We're also not, fighters of any sort, with any kind of background in any sort of combat sports. So it's not, I can watch it now and I feel all right about it, but it was rough editing and watching for a while there. I'm like, it's just not up to snuff. I'm like, well, what do you expect? Come on, it's all right. It works well enough. So yeah, and then it was really just on nights and weekends whenever I could, because here was the smart thing. Okay, so I made the movie. I say it cost $800. Like, well, okay, how do you figure that out? Well, I had all my gear. Right, I bought some soft boxes for like $150, and then I kind of couple costumes, and then like food on the days that we shot. So I kind of add that together, and it's like, yeah, it's about what it cost me out of pocket. So nights and weekends, I kind of break it down like this. I was like, I know I can make this on a low budget, so it's a revenge movie. So you need basically all these characters in a big opening scene. So that's the one scene where you need a big cast. You need one where you shoot in a bar where you'll need some extras. So those are kind of the harder things to arrange. Everything else is going to be one location, her and the guy she kills. And then everything else would be a bunch of mood stuff of her in between. So I'm like, all right, I could break this down pretty easily into where I need to shoot just a couple locations, and then each shoot would need minimal actors, which means I would need minimal crew as well. So kind of thinking very much in the Corman sense or whatever way to, be as economic as possible. And a lot of this comes from like I always wanted to. I like the low budget shit. I like the DIY shit, and that's the school I come from. That's where I learned, whether it was online or through DVD commentaries and behind the scenes stuff from guys who did it themselves too, like Peter Jackson and Sam Raimi and Romero and those guys. And that's just kind of that's where you learn. So yeah, we shoot in the weekends and this kind of shit, and I'd write it as I go along. So like the only kind of real, there's a couple actors I cast, and the most real actor I have is the Pete Garlock. And he's like an older guy trying to act, and he hasn't really broken out in anything yet. He's done some like background work and like the movie Hollywood movies that shoot in Chicago. He's like an extra in The Dark Knight, and, like Public Enemies and stuff. Yeah, and he hasn't had that many roles. So he liked this role. He was supposed to have a different role in Maniac Mutant Massacre, but he was like, no, I'll turn around and do this. Able to get his stuff in 2 days. One of the shoots was technically illegal. We were in a location we're not supposed to be in. So that's like his office. I won't tell you where it was shot, but that was cool.
Nice.
I don't tell him that till we're leaving. Like, right, we're leaving. I'm like, just to be 100% honest with you, like we didn't have permission to be in here, so I just want you to know that. And he's like, that's cool. And then ironically, we go over and shoot at our friend Mariah's house for another scene, and then the lady across the street calls the cops on us. So like, that's funny. What? And the cop's like, yeah, it's not illegal just because your camera's facing her house. And I said, yeah, I know, and I will put her in the fucking movie if she doesn't. Then I asked the cop, I was like, do you want to be in the movie? He's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, all right, well, whatever, it's cool. So yeah, Pete Garlock, and he was great, and it was really fun to kind of work with him. But even that, it was like, oh, hey, Pete, yeah, we're shooting on Saturday, so Thursday night I'll write the scenes up. Oh, here's your sides for the for Saturday, so just remember the lines. Like I just wrote them like 3 days before. So it was very seat your pants style, run and gun, move it along, kind of use all the things that I already knew, right? Like I knew how to do shooting somebody. I knew how to do a throat slit, these kind of things, like some effects and stuff. I didn't really have to learn those things. I learned them for other things, right? So there's a question like before. So I learned the throat slit for that slasher we were going to do. And then I didn't do it. And then like 5 years later, oh yeah, I remember how to do that. Shit. I'll look up the video real quick to refresh myself, but I could fucking do a throat slit in this. Or I had done CO2 squibs of like headshots in Done Dirt Cheap, which is a short film I did. It's like, oh, I could fucking do that in this. Just like any kind of effect I already knew how to do. So that was fun. And then lastly, the score, which I think is super cool, and it kind of gives them. That's what really makes the movie feel the way it does. So it's shot. It is what it is. It looks okay sometimes and kind of crappy other times. The audio is not great, and these long moments of like silence and this really interesting fucking electric guitar sound is very distinctive, and I think really again that's what sells the entire tone of the fucking thing, and it was not intentional. It was supposed to be a synth score, more inspired by 70s Italian giallo films, which is like the precursor to slashers. They're like
Mhm.
murder mystery, stabby, big-eyed, pretty women Italian movies from the 70s, like Dario Argento movies. And the guy I was supposed to have do it, I won't say his name. He just couldn't wrap his fucking head around it, and he dropped out like 2 weeks before the premiere, like the St. Patrick's Day premiere. And I was
Jesus.
like, yeah, fuck. And Michelle's like, delete this guy, and I'm just like, whatever, fuck him. And then Ryan is like, I mean, we could do it. So we just got like a bunch of Coors Light, and man, I had this Yeti microphone and my MacBook, and just fucking recording like a Casio keyboard and like a legitimate like, and then his fucking electric guitar and stuff with a pedal. I forgot the name of the pedal was. He borrowed it from Jerry Hunt. I remember that specifically because I put him in the special thanks in the credits. Um, and yeah, and I told him what I wanted. I played him a clip from this movie called A Blade in the Dark, which is a Lamberto Bava movie. And I was like, they have the same theme. Some movies they'll have like just the same theme, just the same few notes, just played all like essentially the score is just that same thing over and over again. Well, I kind of like
Oh
that.
yeah.
And that's what I told him I wanted. I was like, I don't need a bunch of pieces. I want a motif that's done like a lot. And Blade in the Dark does it really well. And I always liked it. I was like, play this. And he made up something that sounds a lot like the theme from A Blade in the Dark. And like that ends up being my favorite part of the movie is like fucking so cheaply recorded. Like you listen closely. I mean, it doesn't sound like, super high fidelity or anything, but like, yeah, it's fun. Like I love every aspect of filmmaking, from production design to visual effects to practical effects. Editing is probably my favorite thing.
It's a lot of stuff. You're talking about a lot of things that you
I
never
know.
imagine it takes that much stuff to do, and to imagine, like, one person trying to put that all together is impressive.
Thank you. It's fun. Like I like doing like that's what you do. And then once you get people who can really do these things, like, okay, I'm not maybe great at any of these things, but you know them enough, right? So when you get people who like it's their fucking job, you can speak the same language as them and express like what you need from them, what they can do. Because at the end of the day, that's the weird thing about a director. It's kind of a fucking narcissistic job in a way because it's everybody working in service of your ideas, right? They're all kind of like, oh yeah, whatever you say, what's your vision, that kind of stuff. But it's collaboration. It's not, dictation. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, surrounding yourself with talented people like Ryan. I mean, like
yeah.
Yeah.
coming
Mhm.
through, on that. So
Exactly. That's the idea. And the always hope was, and that's the thing that sucks, is you don't want to, it can't be, I keep you around because you can do this. Like you try to always be, that's why I would say yes to anything somebody else wants to do, right? Because it's like, well, you have to throw it back. You have to support them too. So like, whereas anybody else is always willing to be in anything that I want to do, it's like, well, fuck, then I want to go do the same thing for everyone else too. So that's what it's about. I mean, art, you have to do it. Support independent art, right? Like you can't tell other people to do it and then not do it because then you're just an asshole and you want people to support you. Um,
Right.
and it's not what it's about.
Yeah.
so that's a
Collaborative, like you
nice.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. That's a nice kind of segue into your current project, I think. You mentioned earlier video games aren't your, number one priority, but
Nope.
that's what you're doing now. So
Nope.
tell us a little bit about whatever you can tell us about Pepperoni Nightmares.
I could tell you a lot. I mean, so uh Pepperoni Nightmares, the story itself is a story it's kind of been in my head since I've moved out here to Washington or shortly thereafter, which definitely bred from anxiety. If I wanted to break it down and say the theme of the thing, it really comes from anxiety, but it's like a surrealistic horror story that I was going to shoot as a movie. I could never break the story. Could never figure out exactly what it is. I had imagery and I had tone and feelings and atmosphere and this kind of stuff. But I'm like, I can't play it out the whole way, and I can never figure it out. But it was really eating at me because it was like, shit going on in my head. So I had two stories at the time. I had that version of it, which was the horror version, and then I had the more realistic, semi-autobiographical version, which I ended up writing as a movie called "You're a Weird Fucking Guy, Ignacio." which I was gonna shoot last year before, and
No, what happened? I don't.
just financing fell through. It's one of
Right.
those things. Yeah. Yeah, so that and it's like I had casting the week they started closing, like, the libraries where I was gonna do, like, my casting, and it was like that I was shooting, like, the month after all this, like, it sucked, so then you spend a few months recovering and thinking about, like, "Well, the fuck am I gonna do?" Because I can't think about the future because we don't know what's gonna happen in the future. So Pepperoni Nightmares was always in my head and kinda started coming back, and I have a friend, Austin Clark, who is like me, but with video games. So much like Ryan is like me, but with music, Austin is like me, but with video games. And me and Austin have we've done like raps when we were first started hanging out and little kind of things, and we always try to work on stuff together because again, we have similar minds. And yeah, an indie game developer. So I just kind of crossed my mind. Did you ever have Sega CD? Either of you?
No.
No, but I played one. Definitely played
Okay.
one.
So but you guys are video game people, so you're familiar with what an FMV is.
Oh yeah.
So full motion video game, and at the time, some arcade games and a lot of the CD systems in the early days. Yeah, you get the Corey Haim for
Hmm.
Night Trap, where it's like people break into the house and Corey Haim's operating this computer that'll have booby traps for them. So it's just a bunch of video clips, and you pick and choose. It's like a point and click adventure style kind of game. Generally, is how FMVs are. So I'm like, Austin, how easy would it be to do? I wasn't even familiar with the term FMV. I knew what they were, but I didn't even know the term. I was like, how easy would it be to make like a game where I shoot videos and stuff for it? He's like an FMV, and I look it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. So we start talking a little bit, but I didn't want it to be Bandersnatch, right? Like that kind of stuff is back in play now. Everybody is aware of these things now, so I didn't want to like, oh, okay, because people are out there doing that. So it's like I never want to do something too cliche. Like you want to be in style, but not out of style. So we start talking a little bit, and at first we want to do something about the brain. I don't know, and like we had this idea of like I think I was going to call it the 6-layer neocortex, and it was going to be like 6 different levels or 6 different moods or whatever, and it would be 6 different gameplay styles depending on the style. And it was like a whole. We wanted to make a simple game, and we got this big fucking idea, like we always do. So one of the ideas, I was like, ooh, I could use Pepperoni Nightmares and take that idea and shove it in as like the horror section of this game. So I pitch all 6 games to him, and the one that stands out to him is Pepperoni Nightmares. And I'm like, okay, all right, I can take this. And then we end up just working on that. It was like, okay, we'll just keep it simple. We don't want to do this big fucking 6-part game. So we'll keep it really simple, which then this very simple Pepperoni Nightmares game, which was intended to be a forward walking game, like first person view, forward walking. You pick paths. Those paths would lead to videos where you have to make choices that are like nightmares, and you kind of go in and out. But then it became a much larger. Now it's more like an interactive film in a way, more or less. Here's the way I like to think of it: is so it's like a movie. It's like an interactive movie, kind of like say like Bandersnatch or whatever. But then you go into these gameplay levels, and they have various styles of gameplay. So maybe I don't know if you've played the demo or not, but you can kind of see it in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
You see these other, low poly games. So yeah, there are gameplay elements. And I kind of think of them as like reverse cutscenes in a way, right? So like you're getting this mood and this tone from the movie, like you're watching like a David Lynch movie or something. But then you have the games, which now you're forced to. Hopefully, now you're more drawn in because of the unease of the live action stuff. Now you're more drawn into the game, and that's where the scares are going to come and stuff like that. So, kind of a weird, it's gonna be fucking weird. Um, yeah, David Lynch is a big inspiration, and I also kind of drawing from like David Cronenberg, who does things like Videodrome and a lot of other kind of strange body horror type stuff, which is kind of one of the things I'm into, one of the kind of things that I write. So yeah, it's gonna be bizarre, and hopefully somebody likes it.
Do you have any tentative release date, anything like that? Release window?
We would really like to do Q3, but I'm kind of betting we'll have like a really rough version in Q3 this year, and then kind of figure out where we want to go. If it's something that is not quite polished, but if we could pay maybe like a different programmer to just maybe optimize it or something, we might consider something like that. But at the same time, we realize this is two guys making a video game. Like the way I'm shooting this movie, like the movie sections, it's me and Michelle on my cell phone. It's very run and gun DIY. It's supposed to look. Chose cell phone for two reasons. One, it's really really easy to shoot in a cell phone. You can put them anywhere. There's a lot of things you can do with it. But two, we're so used to watching things shot on cell phones, so used to looking at things on our cell phones now. The field of view, the depth of field, and these kind of things that we already see on a cell phone is so familiar to our eye. And then I will kind of, fuck the contrast, make it look a little more like it's shot on VHS, which is a whole other kind of nostalgia that we kind of already have a warmth for. It should have a very familiar feel, and then when you're doing all this, bizarre, absurd, or surrealist stuff, it should have a very unfamiliar feel. So the idea would hopefully be that it almost like puts you in like an uncanny valley kind of situation, where it's just like you can't even describe the familiarity, but then you're kind of really giving them unfamiliarity.
Yeah, you feel it.
Nice.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the idea. Whether
Do
I
you have
succeed.
Do you have any plans for distribution, anything like that?
It'll probably just be a simple digital download, probably a very minimal price, maybe $5. Unless it's really good, then we'll say, you know what, fuck you, because if you want to play this game, it costs $10. But I'm kind of betting it'll be $5, $3, whatever we feel like. Hey, maybe somebody would feel okay about paying us a couple dollars because we put time into this. But if it's like really buggy and maybe pretty difficult to play, then we would just put it up there for free on itch.io or something like that. But it really kind of depends on how we feel about the finished product. We want people to play it, and if we are pretty proud of it, then we think that it'll be worth a couple dollars to play. But beyond that, who knows? If it's really good, or we want to raise a few dollars from people we know to get it kind of polished or something, who knows? Maybe we'd be able to find somebody to port it to an actual system for digital download or something. You never know.
Nice. Nice. Well, I think that kind of completes our interview portion. But we also have a game planned. We've played the B.O.M.B game in past episode. So that's what we're gonna do because Patrick's the movie guy. We're gonna
Had to
Pressure.
practice.
we're going to put Patrick through the B.O.M game, and actually we're going to have a fourth, another special guest. We're going to have Patrick's wife, Michelle, the star of Vixen of Vengeance. She's going to join us in our game. We'll get to that in just a moment. All right, let's play some B.O.M. Let's go.
2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh boy. Dropping a bomb early. I like it on the hook. Gosh. I should probably have seen that movie.
I know the main guy's name. That's the funny thing. Yeah.
Is Peter O'Toole in that movie?
No.
Okay, well then that's a hot early B for
Nice
Eric.
That was brutal. That was
Oh
cruel.
man.
That was the first thing that came to my head.
Hey man.
Okay,
Maybe
Could have
yeah.
went like the
Sometimes-
Mummy.
that's what you gotta do.
Murder. Okay,
Yeah.
so I get to start the next round. It's all good. You mentioned the Mummy. Let's go. Brendan Fraser.
I'll go the Mummy, because why not?
I'll go Rachel Weisz.
Oh, love it.
Mm.
I keep coming up with these stupid movies. The Constant Gardener.
Yeah, it had to be. That's what came to my head too, and I don't know who's in that.
Yeah, I know who's in that though.
Oh yeah, I do too. Now I think about it.
That is Clive Owen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Never mind. I
Yes.
thought it was somebody else in the movie.
Oh God, I can picture him in that movie with that
Mhm.
other guy that I really like and that lady. What is that movie called? I'm gonna take a B. I can
Oh,
picture him in multiple movies, but I can't come up with the
B
name.
on Clive
Probably
Owen.
Children of Men.
Oh, that's the
What's
pick.
that movie with
That's the
Jude
pick.
Law?
Jude Law and Clive Owen.
Yeah. And a lady.
Oh,
It's like
I know
a
what you're talking.
triangle.
Closer.
Oh, closer.
With
Nice.
Natalie Portman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, now that we've named everyone in,
I'm so disappointed I can't come up with what I want to come up with. You can't you can't get it out of your head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
all right, Kayla.
Oh, yes.
Start it off. Go.
I'll go Keira Knightley.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Curse of the Black Pearl.
Johnny Depp.
Okay. I will go. Johnny Depp. He's in a lot of stuff. How about Blow?
Penelope Cruz.
The Counselor.
That's a good one.
A lot of good actors in that one.
It's me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt.
Uh-huh.
I think he's in that. Yeah.
Okay. Brad Pitt is in Inglourious Bastards.
Michael Fassbender.
X-Men First Class.
Bomb. Caught holding the bomb.
Oh.
Oh man. That's a B for Michelle. You get to start off the next round.
Yeah, I'll choose an easy one this time.
yeah, go another Kubrick with like one person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kier Dulia, by the way, is the star of
Oh,
2001
Jesus.
Space Odyssey.
Okay. Well, not Peter O'Toole.
Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11. Oh boy. George Clooney.
God, what is the name of that movie? I can like picture everybody in it.
He's been in a couple, He's been in
Yeah, it's been. I think
handful of films.
Just like forewarning, I'm not very good at this game.
Oh
Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead.
Close.
Yeah, I'm
Ish.
gonna take a O again because I
Take
know
an
that
O.
that's not it, and I just feel bad
Oh.
for saying a wrong answer.
Ooh, yeah, no, I know what you're going for, which is a good one. Which is it's actually what I expected you
From Dusk Till
to say.
Dawn.
Yep.
There it is. I'm like, I know it's Dawn. I know it's Dawn.
Yep.
Oh boy. Start that firecracker, babe.
Oh, again, me.
Boom.
I'm gonna say Jude Law.
Gattaca.
Ooh. I don't know who's in that. I have no idea who's in that movie, so I guess I'm just gonna take O.
Oh
man.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh,
Uma
it's a good
Thurman.
one.
Uma Thurman's in it. We watched it in fucking Dustman's class.
Yeah, we did. That's Ethan Hawke's the other lead, right?
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, some big actors again. But I know it's not. Who the fuck remembers Gattaca outside of 1998 or whenever the hell it came out?
I have no idea what that even is.
It's like about
Yeah.
about the morality of like genetic engineering, essentially.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
designer
ahead of
babies.
its time a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, pretty smart for exactly when it came out and stuff.
I remember it looking real cool. Like the tech was.
I kind of have an I wonder how it holds up now.
Yeah. All right, Michelle. Hit me with something.
Ooh, a good one. Lord of the Rings.
Ooh.
Fellowship of the Ring. Doesn't matter which one. Most of them are all in the same.
That's pretty much it.
First one.
Except for Sean Bean. Doesn't count. Can't say I'm sorry. I said it out loud, but you can't use it.
Orlando Bloom.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Geoffrey Rush.
Ooh.
Oh God, what was that? Oh, there's a movie that he was in recently. Oh, why did you pick Geoffrey Rush?
Because we already said Johnny Depp and Keira Knightley.
You could have picked. Oh wait, no, he's in TV.
And I've only seen the
Stand
first
is
one.
man. I say the first thing.
I have no idea what other movies. I guess I'm taking an M.
Oh boy.
So who is that?
Jeffrey Rush is the
He's
bad guy in the
Barbosa.
first one. Yeah, Barbosa.
Barbosa.
Yeah.
And Barbosa.
Yeah.
I can't think of. I
Yeah, I
know
can't
something
even-
he
I
was
don't-
in recently
Yeah,
too.
that's what I know him from. I know he's a big famous actor, but to me, he's Barbosa. So
I wonder if he's Barbosa to himself. Like if he
I think he probably thinks that. He's probably like in the mirror going like, "Rawr, look at my skin, it's all crumbly or whatever." I don't know, that's all I got. That's the best I got. Sorry, because he like decays. He's like a ghost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being his line, his famous line in that movie. Hey, look
It
at my
was-
skin, it's crumbly.
Yeah, most people don't know that was ad-lib. Most people don't know that. It seems like it was written by like maybe an Oscar-winning screenwriter or something, but it was actually ad-lib by Geoffrey Rush.
Oh, Michelle, what do you got?
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I don't know, the first one.
Sure.
Not the latest. Not the last one.
I feel you. Daniel Radcliffe.
With Army Man.
Nice.
Paul Dano.
Early Blood.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
It's only like 7 choices.
I know.
I'm gonna say Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
good one.
Good one.
Oh fuck. I've actually never seen it. I'm not positive who's in it.
Oh
There's
my
gotta
god.
be-
Oh no.
I know. There's so many actors. There's got to be. What's his face?
Oh, that's a bomb.
Oh, I said Leonardo DiCaprio, didn't I? No, it's fine. Take the B.
That's a hot B. Someone
right.
took a hot B. All right.
All right.
Start us off.
I don't want to make it too. God damn it! I can't make it easy. I have to. Can't be too hard. God, concern it. Terminator 2.
Fun.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That guy. Jingle all the way.
I was like, what? Who the fuck is Jingle?
Okay. There's gotta be a young kid in that, right? Never seen it.
Oh, what? You've never seen my favorite Christmas movie?
Oh no, that's your favorite Christmas movie. No.
Tim Allen one, right?
What?
Right? This isn't the Tim Allen.
It's not the
Christmas
Tim Allen.
movie.
No,
Okay.
no. This is one in which Arnold Schwarzenegger is trying to
I'm gonna
get
say
a Turbo
Macaulay-
Man toy. Nope.
Damn. Right.
The answer we were looking for was Sinbad.
So yeah, unfortunately, no. Phil Hartman was the answer.
Phil
Looking for
Hartman,
because
yeah.
I don't know any other movies that Sinbad is in. So we were looking for Phil Hartman, so I could have said Small Soldiers, and then I would have said Small Soldiers. Michelle would have been like, fuck, I'm out. That's what happened.
I would have lost.
Oh, boy.
I'm tied with you, Michelle. It's okay.
Oh, you got that. So Eric, you have
Yeah.
B, right?
I have B, yeah. So the score currently is B for Eric, B-O-M for Kayla, Patrick also with a B, and B-O-M for Michelle. Picking on the ladies. It's not nice of us. I don't know.
Mhm.
But Kayla, you get
Geoffrey
to to start us off. Hopefully not with Geoffrey Rush.
I get to start. I will say Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
You know what's so funny? Because you said Geoffrey Rush, I kept thinking Premium Rush. So Premium Rush. So that's what I'm gonna say.
I've never seen that movie, so I guess I'm out.
Oh no!
I don't even know what that movie is.
He's like a bike messenger, and he is gonna actually be on a bike.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think
You
he's
don't
the
get
only
it just
character in that
from the
movie.
title. I mean, like,
I think he's the only character in that movie. So
There's a good chance.
Premium Rush. Oh
Sorry,
man.
yeah, no. That's the first thing that came to my head.
Well, Michelle has
Not
been caught
Looper
holding the
Nope.
Dark Knight Rises.
Oh
Nope.
boy. So Premium Rush, that is, I mean, if you're gonna go out on something, Michelle, Premium Rush is something to go out on, you know? Right? Oh boy. So I guess Patrick can start us off, and then we'll
Okay.
loop to me and then Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, go.
Does it matter if it's an actor or a movie?
Does not.
Oh, okay.
Dealer's choice.
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin, we mentioned this before, I think. No Country for Old Men.
Is that Javier Bardem?
That is Javier
Right,
Bardem.
very good, very good. The Count's okay. Javier Bardem is in fuck. Yeah, I don't know which one that is though. They're all fucking generic to me. It's in one of the James Bonds. Skyfall.
Yep.
Oh,
With Daniel Craig.
I won't be fast enough to say a non-James
Yes.
Bond Daniel Craig movie.
Oh man, weren't we just talking about
There
Knives
was like
Out this
7
morning?
seconds left. I
Yes.
needed like at least 15 to come up with it.
Oh well, you know, Daniel Craig isn't
Daniel Craig.
as tough as
Oh,
Premium
Knives
Rush.
Out. See, I came up with it.
But I mean, still, if you're gonna go out, you know, Daniel Craig, that's a solid one to go out on. So I guess we're down to Eric and Patrick.
Yep.
Oh boy,
Let's make this happen.
let's make this happen.
it.
Let's light the candle. Boom. Let's Inception,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Titanic,
Billy Zane.
Hmm.
The Phantom.
Oh. That's an O. I'll take the O on that one.
If you're gonna
That's
give
fine.
me Zane, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'll
You
take
should
the
have said
O.
Zoolander.
Oh, fuck.
Oh
No.
man.
Yeah. Just never been good. But like, yeah, I don't know who the fuck's in the Phantom.
The
The only
Phantom. What
the only
the
thing I
fuck?
know about the Phantom is that they wanted Bruce Campbell, and the studio was like, "No, we need somebody famous like Billy Zane."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Who's the bad guy in the Phantom?
Yep.
No, who is?
No,
Oh yeah,
I'm saying I
you son
have
of a
no
bitch.
idea.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Well played. Well played. Okay. All right. Well,
Oh,
what do I got then? Well, let's
start us
go.
off. Start us off.
Let's go with everybody loves him. Let's go with the Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi. Reservoir Dogs.
What don't want to make it too hard. Harvey Keitel.
Pulp Fiction. That's fine.
Okay, we'll do Pulp Fiction. Samuel L. Jackson.
The Hitman's Bodyguard.
Yes, the only other person that I knows in that movie would be Ryan Reynolds.
I think it's X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
The Prestige.
Christian Bale.
Let's see. I was gonna punch you.
10
The-
seconds left.
The Dark Knight.
Heath Ledger.
5.
A Knight's Tale.
Fuck you.
2.
Oh,
It's.
I don't know anybody else in that movie.
Nobody. Yeah, no, me
Heath
neither.
Ledger.
Nope.
We were looking for Alan Tudyk.
Nobody was looking for Alan Tudyk. He's fun. I like Alan Tudyk. He's an entertainer.
yeah, he's entertaining. I like him.
Yeah, I like him. He's good. He's a good voice actor, everything. But damn it, never thought of that. All right, pretty good. Pretty good. Well played. Okay. All right. Let's start with Jim Carrey.
Okay. The cable guy.
Oh, my favorite. Matthew Broderick.
Glory.
Oh. Fuck. Is that? I I think I'm wrong. Denzel Washington.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Training Day.
Oh.
No, wait. I. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Yep.
Go ahead.
I'm dumb. Your turn.
Okay. Ethan Hawke.
Boy.
You
always
messed
get-
yourself up there, honey.
I do. I know. I always get Ethan Hawke and
It's like his weakness.
and Edward Norton confused with each other.
Ooh, really?
Ten
I
seconds.
do.
I can see that. I
I
can see
do.
that.
Yeah. Very good.
5 seconds.
Shit.
You got Ethan Hawke.
Shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. That's time. That's
Okay.
time.
Daybreakers.
Oh. Oh, you know what? He was in. He was in
Boyhood.
the first fucking the Purge.
The
first
Purge. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's a lot. Yeah.
Damn. That would have been the one. Oh well. All right.
get to
Let's
start it off?
Yeah, I get to start.
So wait,
it off.
am I B.O.M. and you're B.O.?
You got
Correct.
Okay.
it. Got it. Let's start it off with. Oh gosh. Man, why am I drawing a blank on just every film and film actor ever?
Yeah.
Uma Thurman.
She's in Gattaca, by the way. Batman and Robin.
We got a lot here. She's in the one with. Gosh, that's. Oh gosh, what is she the one in? Is she in the one with Tommy Lee Jones?
30 seconds.
Ooh, you
Yeah,
get confused. Yes.
yeah. I'm getting confused quite a bit. Okay, Uma Thurman, Batman and Robin.
Who's in both
Yeah.
of them?
Right. Who are
Wait.
they? 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, George Clooney, right?
George Clooney's in that one. We did
10
George Clooney already,
seconds.
but I'll give it to you. Or Brother Art, though.
Shit. There's a bunch of dudes, bunch of guys. John Goodman.
Yeah.
That's
Not
time.
Big
enough time. Damn it. All right.
Dirty.
Pulled
That
out.
was a
You
dirty,
pulled out.
dirty
Oh.
move.
Yeah, that was. That's all right. That's all right.
Oh
Well,
man.
It's all fair. Part of the game.
My heart's never beat so
Yes.
fast on this
Yeah.
podcast. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Very good.
John is a good man. He is. So we played the B.O.M. game. We interviewed Patrick. We got to see the star of Vixen of Vengeance, Michelle, guest star. We did not know that we were going to have 2 guests on this pod.
Hey.
We are so happy to have had you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Before we say goodbye and wrap up, is there anything you want to plug, Patrick? I know you said you're going to be working on Pepperoni Nightmares. I'm going to post the trailer to our feed, our Machine of Nonsense feed, but is there anything else that we should be looking for? Anywhere where we can find you?
Yeah, I mean, just on the socials, I guess I'm just under Lucha Style, and I'm not a huge social media guy, but you can find me on YouTube and find anything I've really done on there, and then also on Instagram under Lucha Style Now is where I'm kind of going to start to post most of my things. Yeah, Pepperoni Nightmares is the biggest project I'm currently working on, but I'll have 2 shorts I want to shoot really soon called Transmission and Rear View, so we'll probably see those pretty soon, and then Porker and Roundy, the cartoon about a pig in a basketball that works in a donut shop. That'll be something else, and we'll be seeing that pretty soon. So yeah, that's what to be on the lookout for.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Cool.
Well, thank you guys again for being wonderful guests, playing our game, going through the ringer. This has been the Machine of Nonsense, episode 23. I'm your host, Eric. For Kayla, for Patrick, and for Michelle, we're saying goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.